So let me just check. You can hear me all right? Yeah, please share. You're listening to Citizen AY. Here we go. Yes. Yes, sir. Here we go. Yes, sir. Share. Help us share the broadcast. We appreciate you. Here we go. How long? How long gonna go this suffer? How long? How long gonna go this suffer? How long? How long gonna go this suffer? How long go? How long? Share. How long gonna go this suffer? My people, we don't tire. Inside Nigeria, now safeguard we dey oh. My people, we don't tire for the country where them they call Nigeria. Slave camp oh. The time done knock where we suppose. Stand up for rights oh. Stand up for rights oh. Don't knock where we suppose. Stand up oh, for our rights oh. For self-determination. How long? How long gonna go this suffer? How long? Share. We appreciate you all. Thanks for joining. Share. How long gonna go this suffer? How long? Yes, sir. How long gonna go this suffer? How long go? How long gonna go this suffer? Abdul Salam na fake man. Now he put that yeah constitution for your head, yo. Abdul Salam na fake man. Now military man come tell una say una get constitution. Na lie yo, na fake, na fraud. That yeah constitution. Now then they take close to na eye yo. May una wake up, whoa. Moka Berenio, I just they wonder. Moka Berenio, I just they wonder. Moka Berenio, I just they wonder. Berenio, I just they wonder. Berenio, I just they wonder. Moka Berenio, I just they wonder. Moka Berenio, I just they wonder. Moka Berenio, I just they wonder. My people, I want make una know so. Self-determination, oh, na your right, yo. My people, I want make una know so. Self-determination, na your right, yo. You must fight for your right. You must stand for your right. You must get up, stand up. You must tell your people for your village, for your town, for your city, and inside country where you there. Oh, Atiku, Emilokan, Opita Obi no be the solution. Now the solution now be the solution. Make una wake up. Make una wake up. Yes, yo. Calm down now. You be Yoruba man. You be Biafran. I want make una know say. Self-determination, now your right, you. Hey. Na your land, you. Middle belt na your land, you. Hausa land na your land, you. Oh, Biafra land na your land, you. No be Nigeria, no be Nigeria, no be Nigeria, no be Nigeria. Greetings and welcome. Welcome to you all. Welcome, welcome. We appreciate you all. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. And greetings to those of you who are on TikTok, YouTube as well. Please subscribe, hit the notification button, give us thumbs up. Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Please, on this platform, we really are here to educate, enlighten, help people grow. Let us know our rights within our in Africa, particularly. It is of immense importance that we begin to empower ourselves with knowledge. It is very, very important. So please share, share, share. We appreciate each and everyone that's joining us. Greetings and welcome, welcome, welcome. Please share this broadcast. You are listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. On this platform, we focus on all African issues. I am an African man. My ancestry is from Africa, and I'm a proud African man. As you're watching, those of you on TikTok, on YouTube, please give us thumbs up, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and help us grow the platform. We really do appreciate you. Thank you very much. We're going to talk about Ibrahim Traore and the great work he's doing. Where, as you see on the broadcast, he's talking about the fact that he's focusing on President Ibrahim Traore and his drive for African self-sufficiency. It's very important. If you look in the picture on this that I put together, if you look in that picture, you will see that he's got a tractor. There's a tractor there. Not only that, there are President Ibrahim has bought thousands and thousands upon thousands of tractors for Burkinabes, for people to actually in his country of Burkina Faso to be self-sufficient. He's been working on this tirelessly. One of the reasons why he took power was because he saw that the people were being made to suffer by those in power. So he said, no, this is not going to cut it. We're not going to accept this at all. This is not acceptable at all. We are not going to accept this at all. It is unacceptable. So what he did was to begin to, that's one of the reasons he took power. He comes from just a normal place, living in the community that I grew up in. He went into army trying to serve the people. His focus has always been to serve the people, and not just to serve the people as an army man, but to provide, to ensure that the community that he was in, they were able to feed themselves, they were able to clothe themselves, they had jobs, they had farms, they had schools, they had hospitals, all of those things. He was seeing all around him. He's a student. He studied closely the great work done by Ibrahim and by Thomas Sankara. You know that Thomas Sankara was unalived. He was unalived by the colonials, the French, because he was trying to preach the same self-sufficiency. Back in the 1970s, 1983, I believe, when he was the president, he was preaching self-sufficiency for Africa. He was trying to make sure that Africans were able to feed themselves without having to depend on colonial powers. And they did not like that. They wanted to create a culture of dependency. So that is the school of thought that Ibrahim Traore, that's where it comes from. I'm giving you that background so that you can understand when we talk about Ibrahim Traore that we are talking about somebody that really cares about his people, wants to see the people grow. Those of you on TikTok, as you're watching, please give us thumbs up. Help us reach more people. Give us love and like on TikTok. Give us thumbs up. Love and like. Help us grow the platform as you're watching. You're listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I greet those of you from Arule Anikun. Thank you. Anikinu, thank you very much. Hello to somebody from China, from Ukraine, from other places. Please, on this platform, we don't tolerate or give abuse, but there's no need to anybody to abuse anybody or do anything like that. We are here to share important information, to enlighten, to encourage, to empower. That is all we are here for. We're not interested in any negativity. We just want positive energy because that is what we are about on this platform. And we will appreciate the same back when you are making comments on our platform. Please tap the screen, give us thumbs up, help us reach more people. You are listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Now, like I said, I'm going to play a video shortly. The reason I'm doing this, I want you to hear something, the video. Now, he's bought thousands upon thousands of tractors, President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, for his people. Now, the key thing you will hear in the video, one of the things that I really want you to pay close attention to when you hear that video, and it's by another a platform. Let me just mention the name of the group, the platform. I think it's called Africa. I'll get it right anyway. 1 second. I want to make sure I get it right. What's the name? Sorry, because I always like to give credit where I am. Black Man's Diary, I think it's called, if I'm correct. On YouTube. But anyway, so that's where I'll be playing what you'll be hearing. But the picture that you see on the screen is to signify his commitment to his people. He's providing thousands upon thousands of tractors. And the tractors, guess what? They are going to communities where they have been displaced, particularly communities where the farmers have been displaced by the insurgents that were sent by the former colonial powers that were in Burkina Faso. Remember, in Burkina Faso was being controlled by France. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Burkina Faso particularly was being controlled by France. They would have the UK join them, they'll have Netherlands, and sometimes the US. He has sent all of them packing. He has taken over when Ibrahim Traore took over from the took over power. I call it intellectual realignment. When he took over power, what he did was to initially Burkina Faso was only in control of 40% of their land. Now they're in control of over 80% of their land. So security is very important. For you to be self-sufficient, you have to have security, because the security will protect that self-sufficiency. So, and that is very important key thing to understand. Many African leaders now who are getting loans from IMF and World Bank, here is a mistake they make. They take money from the IMF and World Bank. They go and give those loans. They say they're going to help the farmers. Unfortunately, those money don't end up in the hands of the farmers who are working on the soil. They end up in the hands of their friends who have got connections here and there, and it doesn't get to where it needs to get to. Number one. Number two, even if it were to get to the farms, there is no security on ground to protect the farmers so that they can carry on with farming and being able to produce food for the community. So this is the major flaw in the Western system, that many of the so-called democracy, the democracy that is being practiced across Africa, actually leaves us in danger, because those people that are giving us loans, guess what? They don't want those countries to use them to pay loans back. They want them to be rent seeking. So what they do is, the same people that give you the loan are the same ones who are going to pay money to insurgents. Hear me well. The same people who give you loans as an African country. Oh, IMF, I need money I need to build schools. I need to build hospitals. I need to get equipment for my farmers. They will give you loan. Now, many of African leaders, they make this, they carelessly, they go and give it to their friends. They don't give it to the people that need it. The farmers who are going to grow the corn, the yam, the tomatoes, the rice, everything that you need. They don't give it to them. They only give it to their friends. So it doesn't get into the farm, or if it gets to the farm, they don't provide the security. Now, like I said, the same people that gives them that loan, the same people will now go and train insurgents. They go and train insurgents in those communities to target areas where there are resources. And that means they take away the farmers. So when everything fails, they don't care what happens. They want their loan back. And they're using the money that they're giving insurgents money to destabilize that community. So those African leaders who are going to the West need to understand that it is a system. They have a system in place. And that system is designed to impoverish all of us. Hi to you, Crafty Ronin. Hi, Mohammed Omar. Hi, Charles Benny. Greetings. I haven't said hello to people. I'm trying to say quick hello to everybody as you're coming along and get you to join. I'm going to be bringing on my brothers soon. I'm going to actually go to do a call. I want to do a video on Democratic Republic of Congo. Probably the next video we'll come and do that, because we need to know what's going on. M23 is a big concern. That's an example. M23 is very, very armed. Why are they well armed? Where are they getting their funds from? And why is it that the government is suffering? These are the kind of things we need to be exposing and discussing. And that's why I'm saying that we don't need IMF, we don't need World Bank. And this is proof. Burkina Faso is showing us that we don't need IMF, we don't need World Bank, and it's very, very important. So that is why I am going to play this video. I hope you find it beneficial. I think it's called, let me just check the name of the video to make sure. Please subscribe. And also, I'm going to bring you some updates about the petitions that we're signing calling for Ibrahim Traore to be the president of all Africa. Because we want one currency, one Africa, and one security for the whole of Africa. We want him to be, the work he's doing in Burkina Faso is telling us that this is the man we need for the whole of Africa. Please tap and share and help us grow the broadcast, grow the platform. You're listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth about. I might be here for an hour or so, but it is important we talk about that. Now, let us listen to the video. Let me just check. And it is called, I think it's Black Man's Diary. I think it's called. So let us listen to the video. I want you to hear what it's saying now. Let's go here now.
A wave of change is sweeping through the nation's farmlands.
Yep.
The streets of Burkina Faso are filled with celebration.
Yep.
Not because of another foreign donation, but because of something far more powerful. A declaration of self-reliance.
Yep.
Over 1,000 brand new tractors have arrived. Machines built for the land. Machines that promise a new era for Burkina Faso's agricultural sector. Behind this initiative is one man, Captain Ibrahim Traore, the nation's transitional leader, whose vision is clear. Burkina Faso must feed itself. This is more than just an import of equipment. It's a statement, a power shift, a move that challenges decades of dependency. But what does it mean for the people? And can this be the first step towards true food sovereignty?
Yep.
Let's find out.
So that is Black Culture Diary.
For most of the world, the arrival of 1,000 tractors may seem like just another shipment, another logistical operation carried out between ports, trucks, and warehouses. However, in Burkina Faso, this was no ordinary import. This was history in the making.
See?
The journey of these tractors began far from the sun-baked fields of Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
Their
Please
first
share.
The bustling ports of Ghana are a critical gateway for landlocked nations like Burkina Faso. Unlike coastal countries where large-scale imports can be managed directly, Burkina Faso has long faced the challenge of relying on foreign ports for access to essential goods.
Listen.
This dependency has often come with delays, bureaucracy, and at times, outright economic sabotage from larger global players who benefit from Africa's logistical struggles. But this time...
Did you hear he said larger global players? And that is referring specifically to France. Remember, the French colonized France colonized a large part of Africa, and they told them you cannot trade with anybody else other than me. We have to force refusal on your sources. We have you have to bank your money with us. All of that he has cut all of those lines, and he's trying to be independent. So of course they're going to make things difficult, and it's really important to understand the great work that's been done by this great man, Ibrahim Traore. Let's go ahead.
Things moved differently. The tractors, brought in under the directive of Captain Ibrahim Traoré's transitional government, were handled with a level of urgency and efficiency rarely seen in regional trade. There were no unnecessary slowdowns, no prolonged bureaucratic bottlenecks.
See what I mean?
Only swift coordination between Burkina Faso and Ghana, ensuring that this vital shipment reached its destination as quickly as possible.
There you go.
As the tractors made their way from the Ghanaian port inland, a spectacle unfolded along the roads of Burkina Faso.
Listen.
Truck after truck, loaded with gleaming new machines, rolled through towns and villages. The response, pure jubilation. People lined the roads, waving, cheering, even breaking into spontaneous celebrations.
You see people lining the roads, waving and cheering, because they know he is working truly for his people. That is a true leader. That is a true leader, one we need to celebrate. And on this platform, we take every opportunity to celebrate that. We take every opportunity.
Many of whom had spent their entire lives working with outdated and rudimentary tools could hardly believe what they were seeing.
There you go.
For them, this wasn't just an announcement on a government bulletin. It wasn't another empty promise of agricultural development. It was real, tangible, something they could touch, something that would change their lives. For generations, the reality of farming in Burkina Faso has been one of relentless struggle. With the land often difficult to cultivate due to arid conditions and poor soil quality, farmers have relied on sheer physical labor, using basic plows, hoes, and hand tools to scrape out a living. The lack of mechanization has meant lower yields, backbreaking work, and an ongoing dependence on imported food to fill the gaps. But as these tractors rolled in, the message was clear. Those days were coming to an end. The sheer scale of this operation signals something much bigger than just agricultural improvement. It represents a shift in how Burkina Faso sees itself. For too long, African nations have been told they must wait for aid, rely on external donations, and accept whatever crumbs are thrown their way by richer nations. Burkina Faso, like many of its neighbors, has received countless development projects from foreign organizations, often wrapped in generous language, but structured in ways that ensure continued dependency rather than true empowerment. This time, the approach was different. Here's a reminder to please.
Let me just show you a picture.
But structured in ways that ensure continued dependency rather than true empowerment. This time, the approach was different.
There, I want you to have that picture in your mind. That is a sign of a great leader. He's catering for his for the people. He's holding a child, going to those places. He's going to the communities. The other day, I saw a video of Ibrahim Traore going to thank the street sweepers. Yes, I'll bring the video. He was going to thank the street sweepers in Burkina Faso for the great work they are doing to keep the streets clean in Burkina Faso. That is a sign of a leader. He is not a what do you call it? He's not an overlord. He's working for his people. He doesn't see himself above his people. Him and his people, there's no difference between Ibrahim Traore and his people. He sees them as one and he treats them with respect. That is a sign of a great leader. When a leader can go among his people, pick up the child, say hello, say thank you for the work they're doing, because every part of the country is very vital. Their actions, what they're doing, contributes to the greatness of that nation. I just wanted to just highlight that right there. Let's go ahead.
Here's a reminder to please like and share the video. And
please
subscribe
share
to our.
There you go. So I'm going to
continue now.
Yes.
These tractors weren't a gift. They weren't part of an aid package controlled by international donors with hidden conditions attached.
There you go.
They were brought in as an investment, an intentional, calculated move by a government that wants to reclaim control over its destiny.
You see, let me tell you a story about this, what they're doing here. Previously, in all of the so-called democracies in Africa, the government will normally get this tractor, but it's on loan. I mean, they take a loan to buy the tractors. Now, when they get those tractors, they don't give it to the farmers. They give it to their friends. And those friends never put it into, into farming, into communities for the farmers to really grow grow the crops that they need in the community. So they now owe the money. The government now ends up owing that money for those tractors that has not been used. And the family and the country is hungry for food. So they now import food. Whereas what he is doing is to create self-sufficiency. Ibrahim Traore is about Ibrahim Traore wants to create self-sufficiency for Africans. And there's nothing wrong in being self-sufficient. The Western system that has been imposed on Africa has created a dependency culture that Africans now don't believe that they can feed themselves, whereas he's breaking all of that. He went to the school of thought that Thomas Sankara came from, whereby we must be self-sufficient. And that is the premise on which he is doing what he's doing. So again, I cannot, I'll continue to give a round of applause. Let me quickly say hello to my brother that's been on here, Roll the Ball. Greetings and welcome on TikTok. What would you like to say? I'll just unmute you whilst I post this for a few minutes. Would you like to say a few words? Roll the Ball. Am I saying it right? We're on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. Please give us a thumbs up that you're watching. You're listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. We truly appreciate you joining us. Would you consider subscribing to the platform on TikTok and also give us thumbs up on YouTube? And we welcome super chats as well, and we welcome gifts. please give the platform. We try and do a lot of research and bring that to you and help us to really enlighten us about the great things happening on the African continent. The kind of news we share on this platform, you won't see it on the mainstream media. You will not hear the great news that we're here that we're seeing and experiencing on ground. We won't hear it. You won't hear it you won't hear from the mainstream media. So we urge you, if whatever you can do to help us, we really will appreciate. Somebody said, shoot Scott 8. These clowns want a Wakanda so bad. This is nothing to do with Wakanda. We're talking about Africa. I don't know what your intent is, Scott, or shoot and scoot. Whatever your intentions is, this is on YouTube. We are very clear. We want to see great leaders, and we promote great African leaders. And that is our role. Our role is to bring that out. Like I said, but your comments now has proven that you believe in that narrative, that false narrative that Africa cannot achieve anything. And we are here to actually dispel that falsehood, that pure fabrication of what an African should be. And that representation we totally and completely, utterly reject. So we will carry on what we're doing. So, but like I said, we are only here to entertain positive news of somebody saying something else. I've not used any swear word yet. TikTok keep telling me that that we are using swear word. We're not using any swear word, and we are being very, very clean and professional and being direct and giving information. We're sharing information. We're not abusing anybody. So we'll carry on. So let us carry on. So, like I said, my brother, has he gone? Okay, he wasn't able to talk. Okay, I was trying to give him the chance to speak, but okay, we will carry on nonetheless. Let me proceed.
And it's not just about food security.
There you go.
It's about economic sovereignty. By
Listen.
importing modern machinery and equipping its farmers with the tools they need, Burkina Faso is taking direct steps toward reducing its reliance on foreign food imports, cutting down on the economic drain that comes with purchasing staple foods from outside sources.
Yep.
For years, agricultural productivity has been stunted by the lack of proper equipment.
Yep.
Farmers could only cultivate small portions of their land, restricted by what human labor could accomplish. With tractors now in their hands, those limitations will begin to disappear. More land can be cultivated, larger harvests can be produced, and for the first time in many farmers' lives, they can begin to see farming as a profitable and sustainable profession, not just a means of survival. One of the biggest concerns whenever large-scale agricultural projects are introduced is whether the benefits will reach those who need them most.
Yeah.
Too often, development initiatives, especially those involving
Whoa, sorry about that. 1 second, please. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. I don't know what happened, but we're gonna move it. I'll be back 1 second. We're just trying to go past the ads thing because I really wanted you to have this information here. So let's go ahead. Here we go.
With tractors and farming equipment being allocated to well-connected individuals rather than the everyday farmer struggling to feed his family.
Exactly. You see, moments ago I spoke about that in the so-called democracies that the Western powers favor, those so-called they are puppets. They're not a democracy. It's an illusion. They give whatever money that the loan they take, that loan, the IMF and World Bank do not want it to be used to actually improve any infrastructure or anything. They want to keep the same, but they want that loan to entrap that nation, so they start paying back loan on money that they have not used to do anything. They are paying back, and the country owes more money to them. It's a rent-seeking process, and that is very important. So we talked about it in those places where they will give those tractors to their friends. They never end up growing anything. There is no increase in production of food for that community. So it is just a way to actually entrap that nation. And that is what he is breaking free from. It is really important we understand that. Again, kudos to the great man himself, Ibrahim Traore. And of course, Assimi Goita, General Chiani, the guys that you see behind me, those of you on TikTok, you'll be able to see that. You see the picture of the three great men behind me, and they are the Alliance of Sahel States. They have a passport. I'll talk about that again later on. But let us proceed. Thank you very much.
But the transitional government of Captain Ibrahim Traore seems determined to break that cycle. Early reports indicate that these tractors are not being handed over to corporate farming enterprises or used as political favors.
Exactly.
Instead, They are being distributed to farmers and cooperatives that have long been neglected.
You see, in the case, he is focusing on giving it to cooperatives and farmers that have long been neglected by the system. Whereas in a so-called democracy in Africa, those democracies, they give it to their pals and friends and not to the real farmers. This is the key difference between what Ibrahim Traore is doing and what the so-called democracies. They're not democracies. Many of them are puppets. And this is what we are trying to engender and wake us up. We can. Africa has got, it is the most richest continent on this planet Earth, with all untold resources, fertile land, weather, water, you name it, we've got it all. It is time for us to harness it. And President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso is showing us the way. So a huge clap and a cheer for the great man. I will never tire. I'm looking forward to the time where I'm going to be going to Burkina Faso. I will be in Burkina Faso sometime this year, because that's my goal. I want to meet him in person, because we need to appreciate great men like this, and we need to ensure that there are any other leaders that are coming on the African continent. They must simply emulate what he's doing. He is committed to improving the lives of his people using the resources beneath their feet. End of story. That's the reality of it. Let's carry on. Thank you so much. Please
There
give
is
us thumbs
also a
up.
focus on reaching internally displaced farmers, those who were forced to abandon their land due to instability and conflict. By prioritizing these farmers, the government is not just modernizing agriculture, it is also helping to rebuild lives, restore lost livelihoods, and give people the means to stand on their own feet again. As these tractors finally reach Burkina Faso's rural heartlands, the real work begins. The sight of freshly plowed fields once impossible to cultivate will soon become the new normal. Farmers will no longer be limited by outdated tools, and with each harvest, the dream of true food self-sufficiency moves closer to reality. This moment, this turning point, is about more than just technology. It's about dignity.
Yes.
It's about proving that Burkina Faso is not a nation waiting for handouts, but a country determined to shape its future. And as the dust settles behind the convoy of tractors, the echoes of celebration continue. The sound of progress, the sound of a nation rising. Let's zoom out for a second now.
Yes.
Burkina Faso is not just mechanizing its farms, it is redefining its entire agricultural system. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's decision to import over 1,000 tractors is not an isolated event, but rather a crucial part of a broader strategy aimed at long-term transformation. This is not about short-term relief, but a deliberate step toward a future where Burkina Faso no longer relies on foreign aid or food imports to survive. For decades, agriculture in Burkina Faso has been trapped in a cycle of subsistence farming. Farmers grow what they can, often with minimal resources, only to sell their produce at low prices while struggling to buy food at higher costs. The lack of modern equipment has meant that crop yields remain low, and many rural communities face food shortages year after year. But Traoré is changing this dynamic by introducing a structured vision that is not just about providing tools, but about fundamentally reshaping the way agriculture operates in the country. One of the core pillars of this strategy is ensuring that Burkina Faso no longer depends on external food supplies. In recent years, the country has spent millions of dollars importing rice, wheat, and other staple crops from abroad, resources that could have been invested in domestic production instead. But food sovereignty is not just about growing enough food, it's about controlling the entire value chain, from production to storage, distribution, and processing. For too long, African countries have been exporters of raw agricultural goods, only to import processed foods at a much higher cost. Exactly.
That is the point that we've been trying to make. We've been conditioned. Many of us have been conditioned to accept that narrative that Africa is only good at having doing perishable goods alone and not doing finished products. Whereas you can see that the cocoa, for example, we can make chocolate on the African continent. If you make, if tomato paste is making from tomatoes. Is now making. They have their own tomato paste factory in Burkina Faso. Again, like I said, it's all thanks to Ibrahim Traore. They're now selling rice. They make their own. They grow rice. They're growing rice in South self-sufficient quantities, they're now beginning to sell it to other countries around in Africa. We can be self-sufficient, and this is what we need to really demonstrate and continue to encourage. We have that power to do so. We should no longer allow others who have been controlling and oppressing us on our land for so long to tell us what we can and can't do. We need to take the shackles away completely and free ourselves. We need to continue to espouse the great work of the great men like Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, Asemegota of Mali, General Chani of Niger, and there's a guy from Burkina Faso and Botswana. Is it Botswana? Again, there's some leaders. Senegal is beginning to do the same thing, although we want to see their work. But definitely, they are lands of Sahel states. They are people that we are really talking about a lot. So let's continue with that. Again, a round of applause to them for what we're doing, and we want others to encourage and share news about them. And of course, the Black Man's Diary, I think it is on YouTube. Thank you for the video as well that they're sharing, but it's worth sharing, and I wanted you to hear it yourself. There you go.
Traoré's government understands this flaw and is laying the groundwork for a self-sufficient food economy. With these new tractors, farmers will be able to cultivate larger plots of land, increasing overall food production. But in parallel, the government is also focusing on building infrastructure, warehouses, food processing plants, and irrigation systems to ensure that food is not only grown, but stored, processed, and distributed efficiently across the country. Mechanization is only the first step. True agricultural transformation requires the development of an entire ecosystem that supports farmers at every stage of the process. This includes training farmers in modern techniques. Many farmers in Burkina Faso have relied on traditional farming methods passed down through generations. While these methods have sustained communities for centuries, they are not always efficient in today's context. The government is working to introduce agricultural education programs to teach farmers how to maximize their output using modern machinery, sustainable farming techniques, and scientific methods to improve soil health. Then comes access to fertilizers and seeds. Having a tractor is useless without the right resources to make farming productive.
You see?
The government is ensuring that high-quality seeds, organic fertilizers, and crop protection solutions are available to farmers. Special focus is being placed on promoting drought-resistant crops that can thrive in Burkina Faso's climate, ensuring consistent harvests even in challenging weather conditions. Also, a significant percentage of Burkina Faso's agricultural land remains underutilized due to water scarcity. The government's new plan includes expanding irrigation networks, enabling farmers to grow crops beyond the rainy season. This shift will not only increase production, but also create a stable, year-round agricultural industry. One of the biggest obstacles in Burkina Faso's food economy has been the lack of local processing plants. Like tomatoes, rice, and maize are often grown in abundance but end up being sold raw at low prices. In response, Traoré's administration has started investing in agro-processing facilities, ensuring that food is not just grown, but processed, packed.
You see, he is investing in agro-processing factories. Now, I can name a couple of nations. Nigeria, for one, Ghana, Kenya, Cameroon, Ivory Coast. Are they investing in agricultural processing factories? Are they? This man is a visionary. He's doing what the people need. We must support him. We must continue to advocate strongly and support the great work being done by Ibrahim Traore. Every opportunity that he's doing it. You know that last week I told you about the fact that he's actually using prisoners who are now, they are retraining prisoners to farm, and many of them are now acquiring skills that they previously didn't have. That's the vision that we need. We need leaders that are going to be putting Africans first on the African continent. We're not interested in what is happening in Europe or in America. That's for them to decide. This is our priority. As Africans, our priority is how to improve the lives of Africans on the African continent, to inculcate self-sufficiency into our ethos, into our thinking. That is what we need. Let's carry on.
And sold domestically, keeping more value within the country. For years, farming in Burkina Faso has been seen as a low-income, labor-intensive occupation. Many young people have left rural areas in search of better economic opportunities in cities or even outside the country. But under this new vision, farming is no longer just about survival. It is becoming a viable and attractive profession. With
Right. On farming, let me say he's absolutely right. On farming in the West, for example, in Europe, I know this for a fact because I'm in Europe. In Europe, up until recently, before UK left the EU, there's something they were getting. They were getting they were getting subsidies via something called the Common Agricultural Policy. So every farmer was getting funds, and even times when the crop was bad, they were getting the support. The system across the whole of Europe, farmers were getting subsidized. So their crops, whether or not whatever, if there was a shortfall, that subsidy plugged the gap, and it can encourage them to continue in the farming. They were able to buy tractors, they buy equipment, and they never grow hungry. Whereas in Africa, they never, the IMF and World Bank make it a condition that those governments will never ever subsidize the farmers in Africa. That is the condition that the IMF and World Bank placed on African nations. I mean, it's economic madness. Economic madness. These are the things that we come and advocate for. We cannot be just talking about, oh, the problems. If you notice about the way Ibrahim Traore is now, Ibrahim Traore is coming with solutions, and not only coming with solutions, he is putting it into action right before our eyes. Let us again appreciate this great man. Let us appreciate him. A cheer to the man. Cheer. I just can't. I run out of superlatives when it comes to Ibrahim Traore. I literally run out of the superlatives because this man is doing what we were told as Africans we cannot do. He is breaking down all of those negative projections on the African psyche, and he's actually saying no. This is what we're doing, and nothing can stop us. And he's taking, and the premise and the basis on which he's doing this, without the security that he has put in place with the Alliance of Sahel States, whereby they've now protect their borders, that they can know who's coming in, who's going out, and who is a potential threat to the development of Africa. By kicking out the Western bases in those three countries, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Niger, those three countries, they've kicked out the Western military bases that were supposedly keeping the peace. They were supposedly protecting. They were actually there supporting insurgency and targeting the resources, exploiting it. By kicking them out, he's now provided a platform where, exactly, Kwame Godson, thank you. Yes, you're right, exactly. So the thing is, he is doing what the Western powers have always projected that we can never ever do. He's confounding the critics. He's achieving what they said is impossible. So we need to support him. We must protect him on the social media, wherever we are. The people of Burkina Faso are behind him. They protect him. The guy is going around in his communities. He's visible. And there has been umpteenth amount of threats against him. They've been trying to unalive this man for so long. But the people of Burkina Faso know the value, the quality of the man that they call their president. He's a man working for his people. We must support him 100%. We must advocate for him relentlessly. I, for one, would like to meet him, and I can see in this year, I'm already seeing that this year I am going to be in Burkina Faso. I am going to meet President Ibrahim Traore in person, because we have to get this kind of great men. We have to get them to be shining light across the whole of the world, so that every African, every diasporan will come home and want to improve their own community. This is what we need. We're not interested in, we're no longer handouts. All of this handout business that has been going on, this handout tendency is actually destroying the mentality and the capability of many in our communities. So we again, I just round of applause. I could go on about Ibrahim Traore. I could spend the whole day talking about him. Easy. Now let's go ahead. So let's
access to tractors, training, and financial support. Farmers are being empowered as business owners, not just laborers.
See?
The government is working to establish cooperatives and farmer associations, which will allow small farmers to pool resources, share machinery, and collectively bargain for better market prices. This cooperative model has been successfully implemented in other countries, boosting incomes and ensuring that farmers have a stronger voice in agricultural policies.
Tell me what's not to like with this idea, with this new radical visionary thinking by Ibrahim Traore. He sees what works and adapts it to his particular situation on ground. This is what we advocate for. Please continue to give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up, and we welcome super chat. Help us grow the platform. We really appreciate you. Again, those of you on TikTok, give us love and like, and we will appreciate gifts as well as you're watching. We do a lot of research, and we'll bring that to you. Let's carry on. I think I've got about another 20 minutes or so before I wrap up, but let's carry on.
Moreover, new financial programs are being introduced to offer low-interest loans and grants to farmers, making it easier for them to scale up their operations, invest in better seeds, and expand their farms. Instead of seeing farming as an unstable livelihood, young entrepreneurs are now beginning to view agriculture as a...
Don't even think about life insurance.
Sorry about that.
Heard this. Many people in the life insurance industry are absolutely...
Skip that, sorry. How about that? Sorry, I'll make sure I do it better next time, but don't worry. For now, we just want to focus on this.
Primary goal is achieving food independence. There is an even greater opportunity on the horizon. Regional food leadership. West Africa remains heavily dependent on food imports from Europe, Asia, and North America. With this new...
He said West Africa depends heavily on from food. Has a food dependency culture from Europe and America and all over the world. That's by design, and the actions it's taking is actually confounding and breaking that dependency. And that is what we're trying to encourage each other to know, to begin to understand. Please, above all, the guy is also promoting, speaking of our language, local languages, and we need that on ground, because that is a way of reclaiming our land and being able to actually do what we need to do as Africans on our continent without any interference. So it's really, really important. Carry on.
Agricultural shift. Burkina Faso has the potential to become a food exporter within the region. Neighboring countries like Niger, Mali, and Guinea also face food security challenges. With increased production capacity, Burkina Faso can supply excess food to these nations, strengthening regional trade and reducing reliance on external sources.
You see, I have always been advocating that Africa should always be able to trade among Africans. Why is it that Africa, to be able to actually sell your goods, you have to sell it to those who are not part of your continent, and then they buy it from you for peanuts? Your resources are bought for peanuts. Why can't we trade among each other? So we need to begin to really break free from that. Africa must trade first and foremost among the African continent. We must not, there has to be free trade among us across the continent. And that way, there will be nothing like poverty, because they restrict the movement, the route of which our food and our resources, our products are being made. It actually creates pockets, large areas of impoverishment, because the structure and the system designed by the colonials ends up impoverishing, and it's aimed at impoverishing large parts of Africa to be able to feed the narrative that Africa is poor. We need to break this down. And this is exactly what Ibrahim Traore is doing. So a salute once again to the president, Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. Let's carry on.
This shift would not only boost the country's economy, but also position Burkina Faso as a strategic leader in West Africa's agricultural market. Traoré's agricultural transformation plan is not based on theories or political rhetoric. It is built on action and tangible results. The tractors are already arriving. The infrastructure is being developed. The farmers are being trained. Unlike previous governments that relied on foreign partnerships to dictate Burkina Faso's development path, this administration is taking control and making independent decisions that serve the nation's long-term interests.
You see, that is a clear display of sovereignty. They kicked out the military bases. They kicked out all of those Western controls. They kicked out all of those Western companies taking the resources, and the resources is used to benefit their community. That is demonstration of sovereignty over their land. There is no sovereignty in Ivory Coast. There's no sovereignty in Nigeria. There's no sovereignty in Ghana, even now. I know the government is trying. There's no sovereignty in Kenya. There's no sovereignty in Kenya and Uganda. There's no sovereignty in Zimbabwe. There's no sovereignty in DRC, because the systems that are being in place is not allowing for the people to have total control. The control on the resources of the land is always outside of Africa in the colonials and in colonial nations. And that is the reality of what's going on. He is now reversing that. And same thing with Burkina Faso, with Mali, same thing with Niger. So we need to support the great man himself. Let's carry on.
The bigger vision is clear. Burkina Faso will no longer be a country that waits for aid, waits for imports, or waits for permission to grow its food. It will be a country that produces, sustains, and thrives. As these policies unfold, the question is not whether this plan will work, but rather how far it can go. One thing is certain, this is only the beginning. Now, you must be wondering how these tractors are reshaping Burkina Faso's economy and society. When over 1,000 tractors rolled into Burkina Faso, they weren't just machines. They were the seeds of an economic transformation. Agriculture has always been the backbone of the country's economy, but for too long, it has been trapped in a cycle of inefficiency, low productivity, and vulnerability to external market forces. With these modern farming tools now in the hands of local farmers, a chain reaction is beginning, one that will touch every part of the economy, from rural villages to urban markets, from government policies to individual livelihoods. This initiative is more than a farming upgrade. It's an economic strategy with far-reaching consequences. The introduction of large-scale mechanization in Burkina Faso's agriculture will lead to higher food production, lower costs, job creation, and a shift in economic power. But what does this mean in practical terms? How will the presence of these tractors shape Burkina Faso's financial future and social landscape? One of the most immediate economic benefits of this mechanization drive is the reduction of food import costs. For decades, Burkina Faso has spent hundreds of millions of dollars annually importing staple foods such as rice, maize, and wheat. While necessary to feed the population, these imports drain national wealth, keeping the country economically dependent on global food markets. Worse prices, often manipulated by large agricultural exporters, have made it increasingly difficult for ordinary Burkinabés to afford necessities. Now, with modern farming equipment in play, domestic production will rise dramatically. More food will be grown locally, reducing the country's reliance on external sources.
Traders, I want...
1 second, please. Just give me a minute. I do not want that to be there. Our focus is what we're trying to achieve, to learn from what is going on, and we need to be sharing this information in all our communities across Africa, in all nations. Those leaders that are puppets now, we are now putting them on notice. The things that they say that cannot be done, that we cannot grow our own food, that we cannot build our own refineries, to do things like gold, to do our oil, to do everything that we have ourselves on the ground. It's been exposed to be falsehood. They've been trained and conditioned by the colonials to do that. We are now saying no more to that. Let's carry on.
Economy. It also protects it from global economic shocks. In times of crisis, when international food prices skyrocket due to inflation, conflict, or supply chain disruptions, Burkina Faso will no longer be at the mercy of foreign suppliers. It will have the capacity to feed its people, ensuring greater financial security for both individuals and the state. With mechanization comes increased efficiency, allowing farmers to cultivate larger areas of land and produce higher yields.
Absolutely.
But what does this mean for the economic status of individual farmers? The answer lies in a fundamental shift in income distribution. Historians in Burkina Faso operated at subsistence levels, earning just enough to survive but never enough to accumulate wealth. This lack of profitability has led to rural poverty, youth migration to cities, and economic stagnation in farming communities. However, with tractors increasing productivity, farming is now becoming a profitable business rather than just a means of survival. Larger harvests translate to more crops being sold at markets, generating higher revenues for farmers. More importantly, this additional income can now be reinvested in better seeds, irrigation, and equipment, creating a cycle of continuous improvement. The effects of this are enormous. A rural middle class will begin to emerge as farming families generate more income and gain access to financial services such as bank loans and insurance. Consumer spending in rural areas will rise, driving growth in local businesses, markets, and services. The trend of urban migration will slow down as young people see farming as a viable, stable, and lucrative career path rather than a last resort. In essence, mechanization is not just about feeding the country, it is creating a new economic class